Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Chris Taylor. I'm Head of Student Recruitment at the University of Birmingham, Dubai. Today's presentation is to give you some starting points in terms of putting together a strong application and leading into personal statement. We do this in two parts. The first part is to give you general advice around a good application, and the second part is a workshop exercise where we actually help you develop your strengths, weaknesses, to be mindful of when putting together the personal statement, but equally at the same time to look at things like opportunities and threats that the university offers you and the program that you're applying to. So starting with the first part of how to put together a good personal statement, I will just share the screen, 1 second. So in terms of what we're offering, first of all, you need to understand why go to university at all. You need to appreciate that because it will play into the personal statement when you're putting that together. Some of the things to think about when going to university, first of all, improve your career prospects and to get a better job. Obviously, there's a proven statistic here. Those students that go to university are more likely to find a strong graduate job once finishing, but also to earn a greater salary. So those are the things you've got to be mindful of when putting together an application. When you go to university, you will get greater independence and expand your horizons. You need to be mindful of that because it's something to think about that you're offering in your personal statement to a program director or a course leader. You need to be able to demonstrate there that you will be able to self-motivate yourself, get to the classroom every day, contribute well to the classroom space, and that needs to be evident in your personal statement. One of the other things to be thinking about is when you go to university, you'll carry on studying something you really enjoy. And again, you need to put that into the personal statement. Because as you can imagine, a lot of families will be keen for people to do, let's say, medicine. There's an obvious reason why people want their son or daughter to study medicine. But it doesn't mean that it's your choice. And so for that reason, we need to see that this is your choice and something you really do enjoy studying, and you're looking forward to carrying that study on into your university life. Also, one of the other things you need to be mindful of, part of going to university is having fun, is developing yourself, is meeting new friends, things like this. For that reason, in a personal statement, we look for clues to see if you are in that position because we want you to come in and make a contribution to the class and to the subject experience. Now, naturally, we want you to come and study at the University of Birmingham, Dubai, or at the University of Birmingham. But it's good for me to point out here all of the other universities in the UK. This is just an example of some of those universities. The reason it's important is because certainly when I was choosing universities a long time ago, we were actually discouraged. If you didn't have reasonable grades, you're not a university type student, go away, think of a different career. And I think today what I want to do is encourage all of you that through so many choices in the UK, you will definitely have the opportunity to find university for all of you because there'll be such a different mix of programs and such a different mix of entry requirements. So if anything, today I want to leave you with the kind of, yeah, university is an option for me rather than feel like you're being excluded or discouraged to apply to university. In terms of British universities, many of them will have the same or similar application process, and many of them will look at a personal statement in a similar way. So the advice and guidance we're given is very much impartial for you to be able to apply to many different universities in the UK. So where to start? You need to start thinking about a career choice. Okay, and just because you say it out loud now doesn't mean you're stuck to that career choice for the rest of your life. It's just a starting point. It's important that you have a career choice because then it will help you make the next steps. So if I was in a classroom with you right now, what I would be doing is going around the classroom and asking you to tell me what career, what area do you want to work in the future. Usually what many students do here is they say psychology, business, economics, mechanical engineering, which is brilliant. But they're talking about a subject. They're not talking about a career. So what you need to do is not think about the subject for a few minutes. You need to think about the career. And you almost need to think about where would you like to be in the next 10 to 15 years. Okay. So in doing that, you can then appreciate what subject might be right for you. Okay. So if you think about, let's say, psychology, you need to say, I want a career in clinical psychology or counseling psychology or neuroscience and research psychology, or a different area of psychology, because then you'll be able to pick the right subject for you. And that can apply to any of the different course areas. You then come on to choosing the subject. So when you understand what career you might want to go into, you can then look at the right subjects. And what I mean here is, you can imagine lots of universities offer business, offer art, offer history. But with them, they will have the same title, but the content at every university will be so much different to each one. Let's take history. Some of them might be doing medieval history. Some of them might be doing conflict history. Some of them might be doing, European history, something like this. And you've got to understand if that content is relevant to your future, your career. One of the other things to be mindful of, you don't have to worry about this, but it's good to give you the advice. With most degrees, you'll see a few letters after that degree title or that subject title. Usually BSc, Bachelor of Science, BA, Bachelor of Arts, BEng, Bachelor of Engineering, and so on. You just have to be reassured today, they all have the same value. They're all the same length of degree usually. There's nothing different there. You're not going to be penalised or not earn a certain amount of salary because you've got this and not this. Not the case. What you need to do is just focus on the fact, and if we take psychology as a good example, with psychology, a BSc in psychology, a Bachelor of Science in psychology, really focuses on neuroscience and that kind of area, whereas a BA in general, in psychology, will focus on the arts, the counselling side of it. So hopefully that small example will show you the difference between the focus of a programme. And you've got to understand if you're after the science, the art, the engineering, whatever it might be of that programme. But you shouldn't worry about this at this stage. You've got to think about the city and campus type that you'll be getting with that university. So for instance, the University of Birmingham, Dubai, we have one dedicated building over 2 floors. That means everything is in one place. The library, the student association room, the lecture theatre, the classrooms, the tutorial rooms, they're all in one building. Nice and easy and convenient. The University of Birmingham in the UK is one of the largest campuses, one of the most beautiful campuses in the UK. And for that reason, it's spread over a big green parkland space. And that might work really well for the environment you want to study in. But if you think about a university in, let's say, London, they'll have lots of different buildings based around the city. And you've got to get from A to B depending on what lectures you've got and where you're meant to be. Now, that's not a bad thing. You might thrive in that environment, but you've got to understand what campus type would work best for you. And the same location. Think about the city, okay? What is that city offering? Not just as a student, but when you graduate as well. So if you think about Bristol, really good area for creative arts. So that might be an area that you're looking to study. If you think about Manchester, really good city for sports and journalism. So it might be an area you want to study because you're looking at that. You go to Manchester. For Birmingham, really big legal hub, really big finance hub, and also the home of the Industrial Revolution and engineering. So a fantastic place to study if you're looking at engineering. So city and location is really important to think about at the same time. On this slide, some of the things you're looking at. Choosing your courses, we've just mentioned that in the previous slide, but one thing you've got to do is be very realistic about your entry requirements and your entry grades against the entry requirements. Many universities will allow you to apply. There's nothing stopping you applying from, Oxford and Cambridge, but you've got to be realistic. If you don't have the grade portfolio for them, what you're really doing is wasting your own time and creating more challenges for yourself. So you fairly match those actual entry grades you've got through to the right university for your own benefit. At this point, I just want to stop and help you focus on the current climate. So we know at the moment, many of you wouldn't have been able to sit your final exams. You may not be able to submit your final coursework because many schools around the world are closed. Let me reassure you at this moment that certainly the University of Birmingham, Dubai, and many British universities will be giving some flexibility this year, will be understanding fully the situation that all students are in, and will be doing absolutely everything they can to make sure that you're offered a place. They'll be looking at predicted grades, they'll be looking at AS levels, they'll be looking at IB certificate level, year 11 grades, GCSE grades. And if you had the right kind of grades and achievement in those previous years, there's no reason to suggest you weren't going to get exactly the same in your A levels, your IB, your CBSE grades. So please be reassured today, British universities, and certainly the University of Birmingham, Dubai, are here to support you. You just need to contact the university and ask them what they can do for you in the current situation. You shouldn't be worrying, you shouldn't be stressing about this. Universities really want you to study with them this September onwards, so they are going to do everything they can in their power to support you. Think about the type of university you're going to be applying to as well. So for Birmingham, we are a Russell Group university in the same company as Oxford and Cambridge. We are a top World 100 university. So we offer something very different in terms of that. You have specialist universities in the UK. You have small universities where you might thrive. You have the difference between a research university and a taught university. There's so many little things to think about there. You just have to be mindful, is it the right choice for you? And talking about the right choice for you, our next slide talks about the reasons people most often choose university and not necessarily the right university choices. So one of them would be, I'm choosing this university because my dad went there. That's absolutely fine. Okay, that's lovely to have a family history and tradition. But don't forget, your dad went there at that university 25 years ago, and that university could have changed dramatically in that period. This is your life, this is your future, this is your career. You've got to make the right decisions for you. Not the easiest decisions, but the right decisions for you. My friend is going there, so I'm going there too. Now remember, they're no more of an expert than you are because they're going there. And also, this is where I ruin everybody's school friendships right now, but you're more likely to have your lifetime friends from university, your future husband and wife from university, than any other walk in life. So it's pointless copying the person next to you in school right now and following their decision, because the reality is when you're at university, you're going to make so many new friends, so many different friends. And again, this is your future, your career, your life. Why would you just follow, a friend at school like a sheep into a decision that's not necessarily the right decision for you? My sister says it's the best university, so I'm going there. Absolutely fine. I mentioned before, University of Birmingham is a top World 100 university. It's a Russell Group university. It has great overall ranking. It has some good individual subject ranking as well. But you've got to make sure that that individual subject ranking is right for you. And the same, at the bottom, it says, this university is good for French, so it must be good for physics. That's ridiculous. You've got to look at the individual subject ranking to make sure it works for you. The final one on there, there are the best nightclubs in the city, so that's why I'm going there. You know why that's stupid. It's great to have a really good student experience, and very important, actually, to have a very good student life when you're at university, but you can't choose a university based on just that kind of aspect. But I'm sure you all know that anyway. So check with careers teams. Your own career teams at your school will know you. They'll know what you're capable of. They'll know that your passions, your skill set, things like this, so they can really give some sound advice. We do encourage you to reach out to them and have a one-to-one conversation. Equally, universities always have their own careers teams. You can contact the University of Birmingham, Dubai, here in the UAE. You can come along to one of our open days. You can speak to our careers teams because we'll always give you impartial advice. You know, we would love you to join the University of Birmingham, Dubai, but we're looking to offer you impartial advice for any British university. We're here as a good, responsible university. Even our professors, if you speak to them during our open day, will give you good advice about different universities and the best way of assessing the differences. So we encourage you today to start talking to careers teams at your school, but also at universities. So how to actually apply? Okay, in terms of applying, what you're doing is essentially, if you're applying through UCAS for British universities, I think every university in the UK will probably ask you to apply through UCAS. It's in your benefit. It's a very easy, safe system to use, and you can apply to 5 university choices in one go. Okay, if you're applying to universities in Dubai or the UAE, certainly the University of Birmingham, Dubai, it's a free of charge direct application on our website. So essentially, you could pick 5 choices in the UK using UCAS and 1 additional choice in the UAE with the University of Birmingham, Dubai direct. Okay, to be honest, every university is going to be asking the same things, whether it's through UCAS or whether it's a direct application. They'll want to know your personal details, but be reassured, universities, British universities, do subscribe to the GDPR regulations, so all of your data will be correct, safely, will be stored safely and securely. They'll ask you for your 5 choices. Now, many people say, well, why can't I make 10 choices, 20 choices? You could, in theory, but what would be the benefit to you, really? You've got to get down to 1 choice, ultimately. You can only study in one place come September. So why would you want to have all of these choices spread across where you've still got to go away and make that final decision? So have a good think about those 5 choices. And this is our advice, our strategy for you. Have number 1 choice, definite, definitive in your head. Hopefully, again, that's the University of Birmingham or University of Birmingham, Dubai. Number 2 choice, your insurance choice, should be very similar. Okay, so then maybe that's another Russell Group university that's linked to that. A strategy would be number 3, 4, and 5. They have slightly lower entry requirements each step, because if you don't get an offer in the first 2, at least you'll be picking up offers from 3, 4, and 5. You don't have to do this, but we definitely think it's a good way of managing risk, and come the summer, you'll have options there as well. If you're looking to do medicine, UCAS will only allow you to apply to 4 medical choices and a final 5th choice in a non-medicine area. So it could be psychology, it could be pharmacy, it could be biomedical sciences, but not pure medicine, okay? In terms of deadlines, it's advised, and with the good schools that you're all part of, and we work closely with, sharing these links with, I know that they'll all ask you to apply before the end of December for the following September. That's good advice. And essentially, UCAS says that their official deadline for all programs is the 15th of January for the following September. However, if you're applying to medicine or veterinary science, you do have to apply before the 15th of October, and that's for all British universities. So, you are looking to apply from the 1st of September to the 15th of October. You've only got 6 weeks to do it for the following September start. So have a really good think about that. You've got to be a very well-prepared student if you're looking at medicine. We don't offer medicine in our Dubai campus. We do in our UK campus. So if you ever need any support, at the end of this slide, I'm going to give you some email addresses. You can contact us and we can put you in contact with people that can support you in our UK campus. Now, they will ask you for your education. What they're asking for is your predicted grades and your previous year grades. There isn't a school system in the world that has their final grades, certificates, and transcripts before the 15th of January. Okay, so everybody's in the same boat. When you're applying, if you're applying before the 15th of January, which you're advised to do, you won't have final grades. So you use predicted, you use former grades from previous years, GCSEs, all this kind of thing. You will put together a portfolio and the university will assess it. If they can see you're in the right area, they then put that application through to a program director to read through your personal statement. They will ask you about experience, and we're not expecting you to have 5 years work experience, obviously, but what we are asking you to do is to try and pick up some work experience in that career, in that industry you're thinking about, because then it gives you something to talk about in your personal statement. You know, so many people think they want to be a nurse, and then when they go for a bit of kind of work experience, they realize how tough the job is, how gory the job can be sometimes, and it puts them off. Okay, so you've got to appreciate that job and industry, and we very much recommend that, especially for a good university, Russell Group University like the University of Birmingham, Dubai. References and employment. So employment, again, we're not looking for you to have full employment, but anywhere that you've picked up a job or a bit of money in return, because it shows somebody was willing to give you responsibility to fulfill that job, to fulfill that role. So it can be really important if you have it, but we don't expect it from every student. References, they will come from your school teacher. Now is the time to start making a real noticeable difference. So if we take me, I wasn't fantastic at school. My grades weren't brilliant, but I think I recognized in my final few years, I at least had to show some enthusiasm, some positivity. I had to show my communication skills were strong, because I knew the reference I was getting from the school was going to be important to my next steps. Okay, so do start to play that game, if you like. Make sure that the school recognizes you're starting to be a mature individual, you're starting to think about your own career, your own choices, and you've got that kind of responsible approach, because they can reflect that in a really strong reference. And then finally, the personal statement. The personal statement is your opportunity to sell yourself. If you imagine two people are applying for the same program and only one place is left on that program, you've both got the same grades roughly, because you've been put through from the admissions department through to the program director. That program director's got to make a choice between the two of you, and they've never met either of you before. You need to make sure your personal statement sells yourself so well that they pick you for that final place and not the other person. And that is the purpose of a personal statement. So that's the end of stage one. This was just general advice to help you understand universities and the kind of pathway you need to be getting to for the application and the personal statement. Part two, we'll talk about the personal statement itself and how best to prepare for that. Join us in our next session, where we'll be able to give you much more advice about writing a personal statement. Thank you very much.